Hello and welcome back to the XVI podcast. I am your host as always, Mark. This week we're going to be talking about single player versus multiplayer. So because of that, I have brought along two video gaming experts. I've got Alex.
Hello.
And introducing XVI's newest recruit and artist, Toby.
Hey yo.
Right, so single player versus multiplayer. Alex, I want to bring you in to start with because it's kind of well known amongst XVI that you are a multiplayer only player.
Yup.
So, what's the story? What's that all about?
So, goes back, I'd probably say mid-secondary school or high school if you're in the States. Just on the old Xbox 360, come home from school, and I just like to go on a multiplayer. I think it was World at War at the time and Halo ODST, I think it was. And yeah, I've never really sort of gone out of my way to buy a single player game, except for the old PlayStation when there wasn't the internet. But when there was the internet, I just sort of preferred having a group or other people to interact with. I don't know if it's like just I wouldn't say a fear, but maybe just an unwillingness to like want to venture alone. Like I'd rather have like companions. So I think that's where it stems from.
Okay, yeah, that's fair enough. I can definitely relate to that. Toby, what side of the fence do you sit on?
I play quite a lot of multiplayer nowadays, but up until recently, I played almost exclusively single player games.
So you're kind of like the opposite of Alex.
Sort of, I suppose, yeah.
I mean, I must admit, I kind of sit on the fence a lot when it comes to this. What you were saying just then, Alex, Rainbow Six Vegas was a game that I played a lot when I was at school. And there's one particular mission, I can't remember if I think it's the first one, not the second one. So you spend the whole game being the leader of this 3-man squad, and you have your two sort of right-hand men that you breach and clear and things like that. And then you have this one mission in an oil refinery where it's just you. And I used to hate that mission because you're so used to being surrounded by people, and then suddenly it's just you on your own. And you get caught in this huge firefight in the middle of this structure. And I keep trying to order my squad mates to go and flank, and there's no one else there. And you get this sort of deer in the headlights kind of feeling of, oh no, what do I do? So I can definitely relate to that.
Yeah, and when you guys, I don't know about you guys, if you played COD Zombies back in the day.
Yep.
And I could never bring myself to play a solo match. It'd freak me out. I'd get playing on a Saturday night, parents are out, and I have free reign of the living room TV. Lights are off. I'm like, nope, I'm playing it co-op. I am not playing it on my own. You just hear the zombies, the sound of screeching zombies, and you're like, nope, not today.
I know we were chatting about this in the warm-up, but the zombies map in the insane asylum, where there's like the whispering in the background. I tried that once solo, and I think I actually had nightmares that night. I'm not a big fan of horror at the best of times. I don't like jump scares, and COD Zombies is just jump scares the game.
Yeah.
I think when you're, zombies is like an apocalypse. You're in like an apocalypse, so you wouldn't like to be on your own. You'd like to have company, so you don't face that danger alone.
Yeah, that's a good way of looking at it. Definitely. I just, there's lots of, even playing Siege now, when you guys are busy, I play Siege on my own, and sometimes I do Terrorist Hunt solo, and I hate it, because I don't mind the defense ones, because you're in a fixed location and you know where the enemy's coming from, but when you're attacking, and you suddenly go around a corner and there's a breather there, oh god. I hate it. I love playing in squads on Siege.
You hear the breathing, and then you're like, oh no, it's my time. It's my time to go.
Yeah, and again, it's jump scares. It makes me jump out of my seat. Multiplayer or co-op mode. I've put down here how it can affect the impact intended by the game. So when we did our music podcast, however many weeks ago it was now, 6-7 weeks ago I think it was, Kurt made a very good point of the lone wolf mission on Halo Reach. So the final mission of the game, he was talking about how the music really builds up and it really builds this atmosphere of you are the last one standing, and it kind of, I didn't relate to that because I only ever played that mission with friends. And it got me thinking, like, that's a good point, because you are supposed to be the last man standing or the last woman standing, and yet when you do co-op, you're one of up to 4 people.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a really interesting topic of how multiplayer in co-op mode can actually affect the story and the ambience. Don't know why I said it like that. The ambience of the game.
Yeah, like I'm going to reference World of Warcraft again. So if anyone's sick of me referencing that game, like you go on raid battles or dungeons and you have like a co-op group, and I couldn't see myself going on my own. Like it gives the game an extra sort of appeal to it, like because you feel like you're on an adventure with others or like with friends. Whereas if you're going solo, it's all right, if you're new to the game, you get to explore the world, but then after a while you kind of get a bit bored because you've got no one to enjoy it with. So I think it's the companionship again, and like the loneliness that maybe affects certain people.
Yeah, I can understand that.
So I've gone really, really deep there in the fields.
I never thought World of Warcraft would make someone go that deep.
What about you, Mark?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of some other games. I mean, Zombies, I suppose, is one of them, where if you play it with friends, you feel a lot more relaxed. Whereas if you're on your own, you do get that sort of panicky feeling of isolation. But actually, Alien Isolation, can you imagine that as a co-op?
Oh.
That would completely ruin the game.
It'd be hilarious.
So I used to play the old Harry Potter games on a PC, and like even though you're in the perspective of Harry, you still have, like in the first one, you have like Ron and Hermione coming and going with you, so it kind of feels like, oh, you're with the trio. But then like when you're on your own, it's a bit like, oh no.
I was trying to think like the Halo campaigns as well. They always feel a lot easier when you have people helping you.
Yeah, I find that with like the Gears of War sort of campaign modes, is that if you're playing with other people, it's I wouldn't say it detracts from the experience, but it makes it more sort of, it does make it easier. So you tend to have to like play it on a harder mode or something like that.
Halo 3 is the one I was thinking. The Cortana mission in the ship that the Flood have taken over. Because I used to get lost in that ship, and I tried playing it on my own a couple of times, and I just gave up because I kept getting lost. When I used to play with my brother and our friends, my brother used to know the way through, so I would just follow him, and it was so much easier to play it with people, and I just couldn't do it on my own.
I'll tell you one thing. So this is going on about a recent game, Fortnite.
Yeah.
So I've got a friend of mine. He's like known in our group, gaming group, to be like a soloist. Like even you're doing duos or squads, he will play as a solo player. So like he won't take into account that he's got other teammates. So like people are familiar with it, like building up structures and that. He'll build like 1x1s, and you'll just be locked out, and you'll be like, hang on, you've just left me outside, like and but. I think it can definitely affect the experience of the game. So if you've got a squad that's working well together, that can be enjoyable. But then if you've got a squad where someone's not concentrating or someone doesn't know what they're doing, it can be a bit frustrating. So there are times where like solo is good, but then having a group that works well is like the best option, I think.
Yeah, something like that works with like Left 4 Dead 2. So if you're playing with somebody who doesn't really know what they're doing or is very self-centric, I suppose, it's like they're used to playing alone, so they don't take into account that somebody might need a revive or something.
Yeah,
they'll just get
forward.
to the end of the level and leave everyone else stuck with who knows how many zombies behind them.
Yeah, that's something that annoys me in Battlefield 5. Me and Kurt play it a lot, and when it's just the two of us in a squad, it works quite well. I mean, we still die a lot, but we revive each other, we We follow each other around the map. We pick objectives. We do a lot of capturing. And then when it's just me without Kurt and I'm in a squad with 3 random people, I get downed right next to them and they just run away from me.
Yeah.
And yeah, you do get that. You get a lot of people that are just in it for themselves and they don't really care about what their teammates are doing.
I don't see what the point is in playing multiplayer, especially like co-op games, if you're not going to take into account the people that you're playing with.
Yeah.
That's exactly it.
So would you say there's an act of selfishness in those players where they don't consider the others?
Yeah, basically. Yeah, I just don't understand it. I'm one of those people where I don't like playing the support role in squads, but if no one else is willing to do it, I'll always put myself forward.
Yeah.
And a lot of the time, it's not too bad. Like on Siege, I tend to play that support role. So when we're defending, I play Pulse, so I can see where the enemy is. And if I'm attacking, I play Jackal, so I can read footprints for people. And I don't particularly like playing Pulse. I don't think his guns are particularly good, and his C4 is not the greatest explosive to have. But I do it because no one else has an ability to see where the enemy team's coming from.
Yeah. See what with my squad on Fortnite, we've sort of got used to each other's sort of layouts. So like one of my friends who would carry like you get health potions sort of for your shield. So you've got your normal health bar, then you've got like a shield bar, and you get these what we've called like minis, and so that will give you like a quarter health, and then you've got like double health, and then like these big chug jugs that give you the full health. And so like someone will carry like the minis, someone will carry like the med packs, so that one person's not solely responsible, so we've got it across the team. So if we are in trouble, it's not, and someone gets downed or like caught out in the storm, all our resources aren't just on that one person.
Yeah, that's actually a very good plan. That's a very good plan. It's one of those things, if you can get a decent squad together and everyone knows their role, it makes such a difference.
Yeah.
People don't really consider that, but it really does.
Until you get third partied and then just scream running the other way.
Yeah.
Like
you have to stick to plan A.
Yeah.
To work. Like if you all get shot and scatter, then it might collapse.
Yeah.
I tend to usually play support in like my Overwatch team. But again, it's like you get used to the play styles of your teammates. So when you've got like a set group that you play games with, it's a lot more enjoyable because you work well with those people. But if you're working with like randos, and you're getting hounded for playing like DPS or something, and no one else is going to play support, and you're like, I want a bit of a change, you try and play something else, and you'll just sort of have to deal with people yelling all the time. It just makes it not enjoyable.
Because I think we had that, Mark. Yeah, but did you play Overwatch with us? Me, Ben, Kurt?
No, I don't have Overwatch.
Because so Ben would be Mercy, the healer one, I think that is, and I'd be what's the name, Bastion. So I would like get on the payload with and do a turret, as it like change into a turret, and then Kurt would be, I think, what's the guy with the big sort of chunky rhino guy with the shield?
Reinhardt,
yeah. So he would then like deploy in front of me, and then Ben would like be behind healing. So we just have like a constant turret going, and then that would like keep them at bay for a bit. But then the moment one person deviates from that plan, that's when it all just goes up into sort of mayhem.
It means though it's like when you get people like randos that actually seem or act appreciative of people who are playing support or especially playing support for the benefit of the team. It kind of makes it worth being the person to take one for the team, take a bullet.
Yeah, if you're appreciated for the work you do, then it kind of takes away that sort of this is effort feeling, because you feel like you're actually wanted and respected.
Yeah.
It's like protect the healer.
Yeah.
They actually surround you, keep you safe, because it means that they're also safe, and it's a good dynamic and it works.
Mm.
But yeah, the balance between games focused on single player and multiplayer. So obviously there's a lot of trends in video games. The current trend is Battle Royale,
Oh yeah.
which I'm learning to appreciate it more. I used to think it was just a cheap gimmick. Like PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, I had a real problem with that because I just didn't see what was different about it. Because like it was made by someone. It was made by the same guy that made the mod on Armour. But I used to watch people on DayZ playing what then became Battlegrounds, and I just didn't see what the point of making it a standalone game was. And then Fortnite came along, and to start with, Fortnite was just Battlegrounds but with different graphics. They have now changed it a lot, so that it's its own game. And I actually do like Fortnite a lot more. I like watching it. I don't like playing it, I like watching it. But the ones I do like are Firestorm in Battlefield and Nuclear Winter in Fallout. Because to me they make sense. Like canonically they make sense as well. Because in World War II, there was a battle called the Battle of the Bulge. The Allies were surrounded by the Axis, and that's what I feel Firestorm is like. So okay, it's an actual fire, it's not the enemy, but it because it's World War II, I kind of relate and think, okay, this does make sense. And then, Nuclear Winter in Fallout, you could do anything with a Battle Royale in Fallout, and it would pretty much make sense, because it's kill or be killed, which is exactly what Fallout is.
Yeah. So I think going off on that, Fortnite is like, now thinking about it, there's no real connotation for why the storm's there. It's just it just is, and it's just to make the mechanics of the game work. If you make there's themes and stuff, like every battle pass season there's like a different theme, but there's no real like story. Well, they've got a story, but there's no sort of reason why there is a storm enclosing.
Yeah,
I think
again, I think that's why I don't like Fortnite and Battlegrounds, because there is no reason why this is happening. Particularly in Battlegrounds, there's no story behind it even. It's just you load up the map, you jump out the plane, you land, you pick up a gun and you shoot someone. And at no point do you actually think, hang on, why am I actually doing this? And like Fortnite, I'm surprised they didn't do this, because when you die and like the little, is it a drone thing comes out and you kind of get zapped up into it, it almost looks like you're playing for sport and there's an audience watching, and that's like the camera watching you die. And I'm surprised they haven't kind of gone with that, because that would suit Fortnite pretty well, I would say. But yeah, I like the fact that Nuclear Winter has a story behind it, and I like the fact that when you're in the vault, it gives you an incentive to level up, because you want to explore the whole vault and see all of the lore.
One thing I'd like Epic Games to do with Fortnite is, like you're saying, this like a spectator mode. Like, I mean, you can spectate your squad. Once you're dead, you can watch your teammates that are alive. But say if you see a friend, you're like waiting in the lobby because your friend's in a game, you can't view his gameplay. You can only see like a number saying 52 remaining, 17 minutes gone or whatever it is. Like there's no like screen that you can actually watch it.
How cool would it be if, like in GTA they have Arena Wars, where if you're not in the game, you're up in the box watching, and you can use drones or cameras or things like that. How cool would it be if Fortnite had a new area where once you die, you go in there, and then you can sabotage other players on the map from that box?
Like dropping, like the Hunger Games sort of things, like dropping in things or events or items that affect the outcome.
Like you can give your friend a supply package, or you can drop a bomb on an enemy. That'd be so cool. I don't know what the legality would be either, but if you could then bet V-Bucks on who you think's going to win, I think that would work really well.
That would work, yeah.
Someone email Epic Games see if we can get that into Fortnite. Where I was going with this really was so Battle Royale is a trend at the moment, and everyone really knows that in a few years' time it probably won't be as popular as it is now. But looking at other video game trends, so as you said earlier, Alex, back in PS1, PS2 days, it was only single player. And then the Xbox came along with multiplayer, and then that became the trend, and every game that was released after that pretty much had a multiplayer feature. And you see all these trends that come along. Where are we now in the balance, do you think, between all these games? Do you think single player still rules, or do you think there are more multiplayer games, or do you think that there's a nice balance between both?
Oh, multiplayer, definitely.
Yeah, I'd say multiplayer. And I think some of the single player games are adopting the multiplayer aspects as well to try and sort of keep in the market.
Yeah, there's a lot of games nowadays that are they have adjusted campaigns for if you're playing with other people. So different events happen, or different dialogue or anything like that, so it doesn't I suppose ruin the immersion, I guess, by having a character talking to just one out of a party of 4 of you, rather than they now address all of them with different dialogue and different options and stuff like that.
I think the new Animal Crossing that's coming out March next year, because I used to play the older ones on the DS, and I think you could actually visit one friend's sort of hometown at a time, but now they've introduced where you have multiple friends, you can all go in the same world, which definitely improves the experience of the game, because now you're not just a solo character talking to AIs that sort of sound like they're talking nonsense. You actually have a group of players that you can actually chat to.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I've got to wait, 9 months for that and get a Switch. I haven't got a Switch yet.
I've got a Switch, and I'm saving my student loan for that.
I have a Switch as well, so we might have a little team forming here.
Oh yeah.
That'd be pretty cool. Again, we can make videos on that and put them on the XVI channel.
Yeah.
I think people might want to watch that. So yeah, the examples I had for single player only games, Days Gone is a good example of a recent game that is just single player. And the story for that, I've heard, isn't great. I've kind of read through it. It seems a bit cliche, but it's not the worst sort of story in the world. So it sounds like a solid game overall. There's a lot of bugs and glitches as well, but I imagine they'll get patched over the next few months. Then I had games that are just multiplayer, so Battlegrounds, Fortnite, Black Ops 4, where there's no campaign mode, there's no single player mode, it's all multiplayer. And then I had games where you can do both, so Grand Theft Auto 5 has a very, very good single player mode, very good story, and then you can go on GTA Online, and it's set in the same world, but like you said, Toby, it's designed for multiplayer. So it's got different characters that appear depending on what DLC that you're playing and things like that.
Yeah.
Battlefield as well. Battlefield 1 and Battlefield 5. They've got very good, solid multiplayer modes, but the campaign, Battlefield 1, is it Battle Stories? War Stories? I can't remember what they called it now.
Something like that.
Yeah, I think it's War Stories. What a campaign. So good. Every character had this weight to them. I think all but one sacrificed themselves at various points, and you really feel it when that happens. So that's a very good example of a game that caters to both single and multiplayer very, very well. And the other one that I wanted to mention, forced co-op games. So you guys are familiar with A Way Out?
Yes, yeah.
That is a multiplayer game, but it's a co-op game, and it won't let you play the game unless you have someone else to play it with. So you can't just play as one character and the other character is an AI. You have to have someone play with you. And I think that's such a brilliant idea, because it does force you to work together. It could be a complete stranger on the other side of the world that you end up playing with, but it forces you to communicate and work together in order to get through the game. And I won't give away the ending, but you spend the whole story building up this relationship with this other player, and then at the end something happens that could or could not jeopardize that, depending on how you play. I just think it's so clever, and I actually own the game, but I've not found anyone to play it with yet.
Oh no!
Because my brother bought it for me, and his Xbox broke not long afterwards, so we never got the chance to play it.
Oh
dang!
That's the other thing I love about A Way Out is it is a co-op game, but only one person has to own the game. And again, I just think that's genius. Like, because the common excuse when you were at school was, "Oh no, I can't play with you. I don't own the game." And like the guy just thought, "Okay, we'll fix that problem."
It's like
I mean, it was
Jackbox. Sorry, Toby.
Yeah, no, you first.
Jackbox. I don't know if it's like a online. It's like a game quiz show.
Yeah,
quiz
you
show.
get the little code that people can play on their phones with.
So like we were playing sort of a few mates of mine when I was at uni. I'd have it on my Xbox, and then you'd sort of open the room. I can't remember, or set the room code or whatever, and all you needed was a mobile or like connected to the internet and just join online. The phone became the player's controller.
Yeah.
So that was
that's
good.
really cool as well. It builds like a community kind of feeling, doesn't it? Because I know Achievement Hunter played Jackbox a lot, and they stream it so that people who are watching can connect on their phones and vote on things and join in with the game. And again, I just think it's such a brilliant idea.
I believe like back in the day when for some like old DS games, you only needed one person with a cartridge. I think for stuff like Mario Kart, it had like downloadable play. So if you're playing on your DS and you wanted to play with somebody else who doesn't own the game, it would like transfer enough data for them to play the game with you despite that. But that sort of died out, and I think it's a good thing that it's coming back, because it's making games a lot more accessible for people who may not have them.
Yeah. Accessibility is the key word there. I know that's something that we are going to talk about in a future podcast, is just how accessible is gaming these days. Because you do, for a lot of games, you do have to pay. You do have to pay for a console. So £400-500 for a console, and then £60 for a game.
And then you've got to pay for your membership, online membership.
Yeah. So let's go back to like single versus multiplayer. So Alex, are there any single player games out there at the moment that you're tempted to try?
I would probably say no for now, just because I think I've been so out of touch with it that there has to be like a dramatically good game that persuades me now. Like the most of them, it would only be a new multiplayer that I'd consider.
So like Cyberpunk didn't interest you?
It did, but I didn't. I just thought it was going to be too much. Like, is it not as in price, but like overwhelmingly too like, oh come on, this is a bit ridiculous. Like,
I suppose.
But no, I'll probably give it a go nearer the time actually, because I can't really belittle it, and I haven't played it.
Like, I'm putting you on the spot with this, but I do remember, like, Kurt talked me into getting Siege, because before that I was not interested in buying it at all, and I bought it on the promise that we would only do Terrorist Hunt. He tricked me. Like, one day he tricked me and put us into a multiplayer match, and at the time I just thought, oh, you bastard. But I think in hindsight it was actually good. Like, we did the warm-ups, we did the Terrorist Hunts, we pretty much did them all, and then he threw me in at the deep end, and I was overwhelmed to begin with, because I like playing against AI, because AI is predictable, whereas playing against another person, you don't know what they're going to do. And I got my arse handed to me so many times in the first few games. But once I sort of twigged, like, where all the cameras were, where all the hiding spots were and things like that, I did improve a lot. And I do look back now, and I think Terrorist Hunt is actually more daunting now than playing online.
Yeah.
So I feel a bit mean when I say to you about playing single player, because I'm that but the opposite. It's because, like, on my own channel, I had this idea recently to get... It was mainly to get more people to support me on Patreon, but the idea was, if you support me on Patreon, sometimes if I stream online games, you can come and join. And then I had the idea of, like, OpenTTD I play a lot of, and you can play co-op on that, or you can play against people. So I thought, wouldn't it be cool just to have a map where loads of people can join and we either all work together or we all work against each other. And then I started thinking that won't work, because if people want to work with me, they have to have my building style, and my building style is very unique. And then I started like this horrible, daunting feeling of, I've spent years building up this network, and if someone comes in and accidentally destroys it, that would be awful.
Yeah.
And now I don't want to do it. So I talked myself out of it, and it's a shame because it's a good idea. But I guess my thing is I don't trust people. It goes back to the whole playing as squads. I don't trust people to be able to sort of complement my style.
Yeah, I could say the same with group projects at uni.
Oh, yeah.
You'd always, I think it's first year and second years we had it, and there'd always be the one that would very rarely show up, the one that would do minimal input, and then you'd get two conflicting people that'd be like, no, I think that's the best idea, or no, I want to do it this way. So, but then that's what it is in the real world. You have to work as a team, and you have to compromise where you can, where you can, and sort of take a step back, because you can't always have your own way. But then at the same time, you might have an idea that works best, but the others don't see it. And because you've got different viewpoints, there's no unanimous sort of decision, which can then affect. I don't know what I'm going on about here. Cut this out, Mark.
I know what you're saying though. At uni, I was always the reluctant leader. So every time we did group projects, I would be the one that would just sit quietly at the back. I would do the work, but I just didn't want to be in charge. And then we'd get to a week or two before the deadline, and it turns out that no one has done anything. And then someone has to step forward and take charge, and it always ended up being me.
Yeah.
So yeah, I know exactly what you mean. And yeah, it is that problem of you don't really want to work with people, particularly at uni and school. School was probably worse because you get forced to work with people.
Yeah.
And you clearly don't complement each other. Even if you get put with friends, your work styles don't always complement each other. Then you do have to try and get through it. And I really have a problem with people that say video games don't teach you anything, because in this context they do teach you how to work in teams. And they do teach you, you learn whether you're a natural leader or not. And it might sound a bit stupid to say that, but it is kind of true, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I think at the end of the day, I think in the group there needs to be a leader, because otherwise there'll be no order in the group, and it will just be chaos.
Yeah.
So even when we're doing squad mode on Fortnite, my friend who is the solo player, he most of the time takes the lead, but then there are times when we're no, I don't think that's the best idea, let's do this, and it takes a bit of he takes it on the chin a bit, but then he'd be like, okay, yeah, I see your point. So I think there needs to be that someone that takes charge, but then the opportunity for the group to also have an input that's actually considered, because otherwise you're just following a dictatorship almost.
I mean, it makes me laugh thinking about it now, but I remember when we were playing Siege and we all get wound up because no one uses the compass points. Everyone just says there's an enemy here.
I'm guilty of that.
Yeah. Oh, you're the worst. I'm always shouting at you where's here? And again, it's something I noticed. I never used to be the spotter. I would just be the one. I'll be sitting in the corner going, where are they? Where are they? Where are they? And then one day I just thought, hang on, no one else is actually on the cameras looking to see where the enemy is, so I'll do it. So I sit in the corner, get on the cameras, and I start tagging people. And then, I say they're not just tagging them, but saying there's one coming from the southeast, they're heading towards the northwest, and things like that. And it might be a coincidence, but I feel like we started playing a little bit better once we had someone who was actually on the cameras, not just saying there's someone here, but actually saying where here was.
Yeah, marking them and saying, right, they're about to run in 3, 2, 1. So you're aimed at the entranceway, and you've got an idea from I suppose it's like a manned UAV, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you've actually got a team working as a team. rather than sort of all going their own ways, all doing their own thing and hoping for the best.
And the other part of Siege is, when we used to die, we used to just sit there and watch who was still alive.
Yeah, rather than going
again,
on the cameras.
Yeah, we learnt to then use the cameras. And the thing I really like the most is when I'm the last person alive and there's one or two of them, and someone on the cameras is saying, okay, they're coming through the door in 3, 2, and then you shoot them because you're ready and they're not.
Yeah, because they don't expect you to be trained on the door.
Yeah. Or my absolute favourite is when I'm on my own and you guys are tagging the enemy and I throw my C4.
Yeah, blindly out the door, and they're like, how did they know?
Yeah. But like yesterday I was playing Siege and I was playing as Pulse, and someone actually accused me of hacking because I killed them with C4. And it's almost like they don't know what Pulse's ability is.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you're watching this and you don't know Rainbow Six Siege, Pulse's ability is he has a cardiac sensor. So if an enemy player is it 5 or 10 meters? I think it's 5. If they're within a 5-meter radius, you see their heart. Like, it comes up with a little circle telling you where their heartbeat's coming from. So you can basically predict where people are coming from, and you can see through walls and ceilings and floors and things like that. So if it's just me on my own and there's only one person on the enemy team, I can tell where they're coming from using the cardiac sensor, but I still get accused of cheating. It's amazing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's one of those things. It's one of those things. But yeah, I think we've had a good discussion, a good conversation.
Yeah.
So the single player multiplayer debate will always roll on, I feel. I think it's important to remember there's no right or wrong answer. You will have people that prefer one to the other.
Yeah.
If you find someone who likes both, I'd say they're the ones that you need to talk to the most, because I think it's actually quite natural to prefer single or multiplayer over the other. If you have someone who claims to like both equally, then they're probably the outlier more than anything. And I say that being one of those people that does like both in the right game.
Because I think definitely your personality does definitely affect the game mode you like.
Yeah. And there are a lot of games that I play where I do sit there and think, I wish this was multiplayer. Like Planet Coaster, even if you'd had just one person join you, to have 2 people building a park on that would be so cool. And they are working on a sequel, so you never know.
Oh.
Toby, very quickly before we do end, E3 has been and gone. We had our E3 roundup a couple of weeks ago. Were there any games that got you excited?
Cyberpunk, definitely.
Yeah?
I've been watching that for quite a while, so seeing any sort of announcements for it was sick. Very hyped about that. Looking forward to the new Animal Crossing. The new Breath of the Wild is also quite interesting. So hoping to see more sort of content from Nintendo in the next 6-7 months.
Yeah.
But by the looks of it, it's going to take a while for any of that to start coming out, really.
Oh, sorry, I've just thought of something. Just talking about Nintendo. The new Pokemon games. Sword and Shield.
Yeah.
Now you can do co-op sort of things with I think the wild area, I think they've called it, where you can actually join other players. So you're not that sort of solo player, and the only time you're with others is in a battle. You can actually roam around with other players.
Oh, nice.
So it's definitely a new experience to get used to if you're an old school Pokemon fan. But I think it would be a good one.
I hope so.
That certainly sounds interesting. I'll have to look out for that. I still haven't played Let's Go Pikachu, which again I've got sitting on my desk right now. I need to get the Switch up and running again. But yeah, Alex, were there any games that excited you as well?
So yeah, I'd probably say Animal Crossing out of all of them, like, is my favourite. Can't wait for that.
Good stuff. I've never really gotten into Animal Crossing. I've seen people play it, but any chance
it's very
of a co-op
chill
like
game.
That, yeah, any chance of a co-op like that, because I can be a noob in that instance and have one of you guys sort of talk me through it.
Yeah.
Whereas if I was playing on my own, I would get that overwhelming sort of feeling of, oh my god, what the hell am I doing?
Yeah.
They tend to be quite friendly to new players because it's almost kid friendly in terms of like anyone can play it really, which is probably the only reason I managed to get into it. So
Fair enough. All right, I think that's a very good place to end it for this week. So a big thank you to my guests, to Alex and to Toby.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you very much, everybody, for watching. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you enjoyed this podcast, and also go check out the other XVI podcasts via the playlist in the description down below. Also, if you do subscribe, hit the bell notification so you never miss an upload on the XVI channel. There's plenty of good stuff that we've got coming up in the very near future, so keep an eye out for that. Thank you very much once again for watching. Also, hit the like button if you enjoyed the video. Always lets us know that we're doing the right thing. And until next time, take care.
Bye.
Bye.